In part 1, I spoke about connecting to the earth, connecting to Geb, which of course can be done in many ways. So I've been showing clips from the Sufi rituals from the dervishes of Al-Ladranan, because ritual is something that most of us don't know about in the West. It's been lost or covered up. Yet living here in Egypt and belonging to a Sufi community has introduced me to this magical area that was very much a part of the temple teaching in ancient times. Ritual can convey a wealth of information without words or mind activity, so it's perfect for the Netta Geb, since so much of that is done through body language. So with that, let's see what kind of energetic and metaphysical action Geb is really offering here. Most of us played with magnets at school and learned how an invisible energy causes like poles to repel each other while opposite poles attract. We also learned that a magnet creates an energy field within and around itself, and that a compass is a magnet that aligns itself with the Earth's magnetic field. But wait, we took a big leap here because that implies that the Earth itself is a magnet. And how does Geb fit into all of this? Geb is most often shown together with Nut in a way that repeats the image of a magnet with its energy field, Geb being the generator that causes Nut to animate a continuous flow of energy all around him. Now remember that Geb is the son of Shu, who created polarity when he separated Geb and Nut from their loving embrace. And indeed, the world as we know it could not exist without Shu separating them, because that action created the incredible drive that we call sexual energy or attraction. We can think of Geb as what is below and his twin sister Nut as what's above, which is quite clear when you look at the horizon and see how the earth beneath your feet is completely arched over by the sky, perfectly demonstrating the essence of the male and female principles, Geb being that which is contained and Nut being that which contains him. Almost every culture considers the earth a female entity, yet in Egyptian mythology, Geb is a male principle. And I've explained in my other videos how the main determining factor for that is revealed in the genitals. The phallus of Geb is the pole that the whole earth revolves around, while Nut is the spinning vortex created by their separation. Modern science shows us images of the Earth turning around its polar axis, although they reverse the north and south poles. Still, they say this generates a torus field that maps out the path of Nut's energy, and go on to tell us that magnetism and electricity are actually two sides of the same coin, which they call electromagnetism. What this means is that Geb's inherent magnetic properties generate an enormous electromagnetic field that surrounds him, and I'll have a lot more to say about that in the videos on Nut and Ben. One of the most intriguing images of Geb is carved on a ceiling in the temple of Dendera. With another figure arched above him, his body is completely folded over itself. However, this papyrus may be able to throw some light on why. Painted about 1,000 years earlier, it shows an ithyphallic Geb bent over in a very similar position, and the hieroglyphs tell us that the figure arched over him is actually Osiris rather than Nut. The symbolism in all sacred art can and must be interpreted in many ways. And in this context, the image focuses on the power of the magnetic energy contained within the body of Geb himself, whereas the body of Nut represents the electromagnetic current it generates. Geb is spelled with two hieroglyphs, a goose and a foot, that are pronounced G and B. The goose is a very territorial bird that honks loudly when it feels threatened and will even attack to defend its ground. What it's guarding is none other than the earth itself, Geb, and its honking while it senses danger recalls how many animals have highly developed instincts that are sensitive to ground activity, like earthquakes, which are also caused by Geb. Although geese can fly very long distances, their bodies are physically dense and they spend most of their time on either earth or water. The foot is what grounds man, being in direct physical and energetic contact with the earth itself, and together with the lower part of the leg forms his base or support in life. It also implies the concept of duality, since 2 feet are needed to stand or walk. Geb is also associated with snakes, one of the few land creatures that don't have legs, so their bodies are completely connected to the earth. So these 2 hieroglyphs convey the idea of something very solid and earthbound, and due to gravity, Geb lies at the bottom of everything and has a humble capacity to absorb, which can be put to great use in healing. As the 4th letter to be revealed in the Iunu myth, Geb represents the number 4 and designates the 4 sons of Horus, the first of the Platonic solids, the 4 classical elements, and the 4 cardinal directions. Manifesting perfectly as a square, the number 4 gives stability. Just think of the base of a pyramid or any 4-legged animal. The square also gives us the 90-degree angle, and by adding the hieroglyph for Ra, the symbolic union of Ra and Geb creates the magical squaring of the circle, which is critical to sacred geometry and is literally the hand of God manipulating matter in accordance with cosmic law. The 3-dimensional form of a square is the cube, like the Kaaba in Mecca, whose magnetic pool draws millions from all over the world to circle around it. And while square shapes rarely manifest in nature, the unseen powers held in these structures has long been recognized by those who built them. Creation is a downward movement perfectly expressed in the Iunu myth that explains the revelation of letter and number from 1 to 9. However, alchemy is an upward movement that necessitates the reversal of that order. So with the square as number 4, the alchemist progresses to the triangle representing the number 3, which is one of the things we can see in these sculptures, commonly called block statues. Having gained mastery over the material world, symbolized by the cube, the head or ruling faculty repeats the triangular form of a pyramid or more precisely, the Ben that sits on top of it, while his hands rest upon the material cube of his body in a gesture of triumph and sublimation. Well, I hope today's video gave you a fuller understanding of the net of Geb and new ways to look at symbolism in sacred art and ritual. So to stay connected, click the like and subscribe buttons, and you can read more about cosmic law in my new blog, News from Beyond. And you can support the channel for just the price of a coffee by clicking on the link below. You'll find links to all these things in the description below. And as ever, thank you for watching.